Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Ramesh Ramachandran. Coming up in the next 30 minutes. At least 5 die as trains collide in India's eastern state of West Bengal. Several wounded. Rescue operations on a war footing. US National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan in New Delhi for talks with India's leaders on bilateral relations besides regional and global issues. Ukraine summit strives for consensus, but way forward is uncertain after India and much of the global south do not support a joint communique. A daily pause in fighting to allow Gaza aid triggers a spat between Israel's Prime Minister and the army, even as military operations continue in Rafah. At least 5 people were killed and more than 20 injured in a train accident when a passenger train was hit by a goods train at Darjeeling in India's eastern state of West Bengal. The Kanchanjunga Express, which links the northeastern states of Assam and Tripura with West Bengal, was hit by a goods train. The goods train overshot a signal and hit the rear of the Kanchanjunga Express. The National Disaster Response Force and 15 ambulances have reached the accident site. Relief and rescue operations are underway on a war footing. India's Minister of Railways, Ashwini Vaishnav, will be reaching the accident site soon. He has expressed shock over the incident. Taking to X, the minister said that rescue operations are being carried out on a war footing and rescue teams are working in close coordination with each other. The Additional Superintendent of Police of Darjeeling, Abhishek Roy, said that rescue operations are underway and that a number of people have since been rescued.
कंचनजंगा एक्सप्रेस है, ये पीछे यहाँ पे खड़ा था और पीछे से एक मालगाड़ी आके उसको ठोक दिया। 3 बॉगी अभी तक डिटेल्ड हुआ है, 5 फैटलिटी हुआ है, कैजुअलिटी हुआ है 5। अभी तक हम रेस्क्यू कर लिया है और मालगाड़ी का जो आगे का इंजन है वहाँ पे गैस कटर लगेगा। आरपीएफ भी आगे है, हम लोग लोकल पीएस से आगे है। इंजर्ड अभी तक 25 to 30 नियरली, बट द इंजुरीज आर नॉट फैटल। वी हैव ऑलरेडी रेस्क्यूड देम विद देयर लगेजेस।
India's President Draupadi Murmu has expressed grief over the loss of lives in West Bengal train accident. The President wrote on X, and I quote, "The news of the loss of lives due to a train accident in Darjeeling, West Bengal is deeply distressing. My thoughts and prayers are with the bereaved families. I pray for the speedy recovery of the injured and success of relief and rescue operations." Unquote. And joining me on the phone line from Kolkata is my colleague Prasenjit Bakshi. Prasenjit, a tragic incident. How are the rescue operations coming along? And talk to us about how it happened and why.
Look, Ramesh, as you said, that this Kanchanjunga Express was standing on the track, waiting for the green signal to enter the nearest big station, New Jalpaiguri Junction. When this has happened, this goods train that oversaw the signal and rammed into the rear side of this Kanchanjunga Express. But after that, the local people, they sounded the railway department and the local administration, and they also rushed to the rescue operation. And a green corridor is created to reach to the nearest hospital, unfortunately, which is around 50 kilometers from the place of incident, because it is a very remote area of this locality. But however, as the officer said, fatality is casualty is restricted within 5, and the other injury is not that fatal. But even then, the trauma is very deep into the psychology of the passengers, because the momentum of the goods train was very high and the impact was very high. So that is the important part of it. But railway department, local administration, and police and NDRF, National Disaster Relief, and everybody is working in coordination, and almost rescue operation is over. I mean, human rescue operation is over. But the point is that the line connecting to the northeastern part of the country, that is blocked due to this accident, and now the major concentration of the railway department to clear the track, to find out that anybody is trapped inside or not, and as early as possible the movement of the train is restored. Ramesh.
All right, we leave it at that, but we'll keep coming back to you for more as we go along. But Prasenjit, thank you, appreciate it. Prasenjit Bakshi there on the phone line from Kolkata. Right, moving on, India's Home Minister Amit Shah will chair a high-level meeting in New Delhi on Monday to review the security situation in Manipur. Officials from the national and state governments, the Indian Army and other agencies will attend the meeting. Meanwhile, India's Home Minister Amit Shah chaired a meeting on Sunday to review security and logistics arrangements for a pilgrimage to the Hindu shrine of Amarnath in Jammu and Kashmir. The minister told security agencies to be vigilant and deploy sufficient number of personnel for the pilgrimage. He called for a perfect inter-agency coordination and adherence to a well-established standard operating procedure. The pilgrimage to the cave shrine of Amarnath would commence on 29th June. Jammu and Kashmir has made elaborate arrangements for a smooth conduct of the pilgrimage. India's Home Ministry has handed over an investigation into the 9th June terror attack on a bus carrying pilgrims in Jammu and Kashmir's Riyasi district to the National Investigation Agency. The attack on the bus, which was returning to Katra from a temple in Riyasi, killed 9 people and injured 33. The NIA is investigating the terror attack from every angle to see if there is a larger conspiracy behind the incident. India's Minister of Road Transport and Highways, Nitin Gadkari, will hold a high-level meeting at Srinagar in Jammu and Kashmir to review the progress of infrastructure projects. It includes the Amarnath pilgrimage and the Jammu-Srinagar National Highway. Highways, tunnels, roads and other critical projects are being developed in the Union Territory, which have immense value for Jammu and Kashmir and the nation alike. Meanwhile, in the neighbouring Union Territory of Ladakh, strategic projects such as the Zojila Tunnel are under construction. The Zojila Tunnel will ensure all-weather connectivity between Ladakh, Jammu and Srinagar and the rest of the country, even during the closure of the Srinagar-Leh National Highway because of snowfall in winter. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi will visit the states of Uttar Pradesh and Bihar on the 18th and 19th of June. On 18th June, the Prime Minister will participate in an event to felicitate farmers in the holy city of Varanasi in Uttar Pradesh. He will witness an evening prayer at the Dashashwamedh Ghat. A ghat refers to the series of steps leading down to the river. He will also take part in a prayer at the Kashi Vishwanath temple. On 19th June, the Prime Minister will visit the ruins of Nalanda in Bihar. He will inaugurate the campus of Nalanda University at Rajgir. He will address a gathering on the occasion as well. 4 left-wing extremists were killed in an encounter with security forces in Jharkhand's West Singhbhum district. A large cache of arms and ammunition were recovered from the encounter site. In other words, India's Railway Ministry has successfully conducted an electric engine trial from Sangaldan to Riyasi in Jammu and Kashmir. The 46-kilometer stretch would be inspected over 2 days as the ministry gets closer to its ambitious project of the world's highest steel arch rail bridge over the Chenab River. The first train between Sangaldan and Riyasi will likely commence on the 30th of June after the successful trial of an electric engine on the route. The India Meteorological Department has issued heat wave to severe heat wave warnings for the entire northern region. Heat wave to severe heat wave warnings were issued for most parts of Uttar Pradesh till the 18th of June, while heat wave conditions were very likely in Punjab, Haryana and Delhi till Monday and decrease in intensity thereafter. Heat wave conditions are expected to continue in Jammu, Himachal Pradesh, Uttarakhand, Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh and Chhattisgarh till Monday and abate thereafter. The Met Department also predicted that the northeastern states along with West Bengal and Odisha will receive heavy to very heavy rainfall in the next 4 or 5 days. U.S. National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan is in New Delhi for talks with the country's leadership at the start of Prime Minister Narendra Modi's third term in office. It will be the first trip by a senior official to India after Prime Minister Modi came to power for a third time. Sullivan will take part in the second meeting of the Initiative on Critical and Emerging Technologies. He is holding talks with his Indian counterpart Ajit Doval. Now, this meeting will be followed by a joint statement between the two nations underscoring the progress made on and the importance of the Initiative on Critical and Emerging Technologies. Earlier on 6th June, US President Joe Biden and Prime Minister Narendra Modi discussed Sullivan's visit to New Delhi during a call made by President Biden to congratulate Prime Minister Modi on his election win. And still to come on DD India Live. European Union leaders are gathering in Brussels for the first informal meeting since the EU Parliament election. And the fixtures and venues for T20 Cricket World Cup are announced. India to play Afghanistan in Barbados on the 20th of June.
We just don't bring you the news as it unfolds. We get to the heart of the matter.
We don't just present facts, we demystify complex social, political and economic events.
We break stories that shape the world's present and future because you deserve the truth.
I am Tanvi Taneja from New Delhi.
I'm Ollie Barrett from London.
I'm Nick Harper from Washington, D.C.
Join us on DD India Global Monday to Friday at these times.
You're watching DD India Live. I'm Ramesh Ramachandran. A two-day meeting called the Summit on Peace in Ukraine concluded in Switzerland on Sunday. More than 90 countries signed a joint communique which lays out a possible roadmap for resolution of the Russia-Ukraine conflict. But it lacks unanimity because it was agreed at a summit to which Russia was not invited. Amish Mahajan reports.
The Ukraine Peace Summit in Switzerland has successfully concluded with over 90 countries signing the final declaration. Swiss President Viola Amherd presented the key points of the communique, emphasizing the importance of the safe use of nuclear power, the protection of shipping navigation routes, and the return of unlawfully displaced children and detained civilians.
We have managed to agree on a common vision here on the Bürgenstock. We have set out that vision in the Bürgenstock communiqué. Herewith we are sending a clear signal to the people of Ukraine and to all those directly affected by the consequences of the war. A large part of the international community has the desire to bring change.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky praised the support from Western and other leaders at the summit, highlighting that this collective effort underscores the potential to restore the rule of international law.
That we can achieve results as soon as possible. And it is exactly these and other similar practical steps to restore security and peace that will prove to everyone in the world that the UN Charter can be restored to full effectiveness. All the principles and purposes of the UN Charter. Thank you very much. Slava Ukraini.
Meanwhile, Russia has expressed its willingness to engage in talks with Ukraine. However, it stressed the necessity of guarantees to ensure the credibility and seriousness of any forthcoming negotiations.
Putin is not rejecting anything. He's not rejecting the possibility of talks. He says there are legitimate bodies there in accordance with the country's constitution, who is authorized to conduct negotiations, etc. Negotiations, as a rule, are conducted by expert people, but the results of negotiations are recorded by legitimate. Agreements on paper are the fruit of very complex expert negotiations, a balance of interests, and of course, taking into account the realities on the ground. And this will be the case this time as well.
As the summit comes to an end, the international community remains hopeful that these declarations and commitments will pave the way for lasting peace and stability in the region. With Bureau Inputs, Amish Mahajan's report for DD India.
Graphics on that very meeting for you. Now, India participated in the Switzerland-hosted summit on peace in Ukraine on the 15th and 16th of June. An Indian diplomat, Pavan Kapoor, represented India at the summit. India did not associate itself with a joint communique issued towards the end of the two-day talks. At the summit, India called for a peaceful resolution of the conflict through dialogue and diplomacy. India pitched for sincere and practical engagement between both the parties of the conflict, calling it essential for achieving a resolution. And last but not the least, India said it is committed to engaging with all stakeholders and both parties involved, contributing earnestly towards achieving an early and abiding peace. European Union leaders are gathering for the first informal meeting in Brussels on Monday since the European Parliament election. The leaders will debate policy goals for the next 5 years, from defense to the economy. They would also discuss about who should be the next presidents of the European Commission and the European Council, besides the foreign policy chief. Germany's Ursula von der Leyen is in prime position to secure a second term as head of the European Commission, while a former Prime Minister of Portugal, Alberto Costa, is set to become the next president of the European Council. The leaders are due to confirm their choices at an EU summit on the 27th and 28th of June. EU leaders are also expected to discuss the next 5-year legislative cycle with a stress on common values, defense and economic competitiveness. They are due to confirm their strategic agenda guidance at the June end summit. Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu on Sunday denounced military's plans to hold daily pauses in fighting along one of the main roads into Gaza to facilitate aid delivery into the enclave. The reaction from Netanyahu underlined political tensions over the issue of aid for Gaza, where international organizations have warned of a growing humanitarian crisis. Israel's National Security Minister Itamar Ben-Gvir also denounced the idea of a tactical pause. He said that whoever decided it was a fool who should lose their job. The military had announced the daily pauses in the area from the Kerem Shalom crossing to the Salah al-Din road and then northwards. The military clarified that normal operations would continue in Rafah, which is its main focus in southern Gaza. 8 soldiers were killed on Saturday in this area. As fighting in Gaza continued, conflict across the Israel-Lebanon border is now threatening to spiral into a wider war as near daily exchanges of fire between Israeli forces and the Hezbollah militia have escalated. A dense cloud of smoke was seen rising over the hilly frontier in southern Lebanon on Sunday. Last week, the Hezbollah launched the largest volley of rockets and drones yet in the 8 months it has been exchanging fire with the Israeli military in parallel to the Gaza war. The US and France are working on a negotiated settlement to the hostilities along Lebanon's southern border. Hezbollah said that it will not halt fire unless Israel stops its military offensive on Gaza. For its part, an Israeli military official said Israel will take the necessary measures to protect its civilians until security along the country's border with Lebanon is restored. Maritime tensions between China and the Philippines seem to be intensifying in the South China Sea. Only this time, China accused the Philippines of an intrusion. China's Coast Guard alleged on Monday that a Filipino ship illegally intruded into waters adjacent to the second Thomas Shoal in the South China Sea. The Filipino transport and replenishment ship allegedly ignored China's repeated warnings. The Chinese Coast Guard said that the vessel deliberately and dangerously approached a Chinese ship in an unprofessional manner, resulting in a collision. DD India's Laura Westbrook has more from Hong Kong. The loudspeakers deployed by South Korea to wage a psychological warfare against North Korea are not as effective as it was expected to be. Now, this after audits and legal battles claim that the loudspeakers are too quiet. It's raised questions over how far into the reclusive North can South Korea blast its propaganda messages. South Korea resumed loudspeaker broadcasts directed at North Korea on the 9th of June for the first time since a now-defunct inter-Korean agreement had banned them in 2018. The current loudspeakers were among 40 systems purchased in 2016 after the two Koreas exchanged artillery fire in a 2015 dispute over the broadcasts. South Korea's military said that the systems were designed to blare pop music and political messages up to 10 kilometers inside North Korea's territory, but audits released at the time show that the new loudspeakers did not meet those standards and were not as powerful as the military called for. North Korea's own loudspeakers in the area further diminished the reach of South Korea's psychological warfare. North Korea's broadcasts are less aimed at winning over people in the South and more at suppressing the South's broadcasts by overpowering or muddling the message. Russia's President Vladimir Putin will be on a two-day visit to Vietnam. It has triggered a U.S. rebuke. The visit follows Hanoi avoiding a Ukraine peace summit in Switzerland while sending his deputy foreign minister to a BRICS meeting in Russia last week. The United States, which upgraded relations with Hanoi last year and is Vietnam's top trading partner, reacted harshly. A spokesperson for the U.S. Embassy in Hanoi said that no country should give Putin a platform to promote his war of aggression and otherwise allow him to normalize his atrocities. The Hague-based International Criminal Court issued in March 2023 an arrest warrant for the Russian president over alleged war crimes in Ukraine. Vietnam, Russia and the U.S. are not members of the ICC. And in news just coming in, India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi has expressed grief over the loss of lives in the West Bengal train accident. Posting a message on X, the Prime Minister said, and I quote, "The railway accident in West Bengal is saddening. Condolences to those who lost their loved ones. I pray that the injured recover at the earliest." Spoke to officials and took stock of the situation. Rescue operations are underway to assist the affected. The Railways Minister Ashwini Vaishnav ji is on the way to the site of the mishap as well, unquote. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Modi has announced an ex gratia of 2 lakh rupees to the next of kin of each of the deceased. The injured will be given rupees 50,000. And now to all the news from the world of sport. The Super 8 phase of the ICC Men's T20 World Cup 2024 is set to begin on Wednesday, with South Africa taking on the co-host United States of America in North Sound, Antigua. India will play against Afghanistan on 20th June in Barbados' capital, Bridgetown. In the other encounter, West Indies to face reigning champion England in St. Lucia's Gross Islet. The Super 8 matches will be played till the 25th of June. In Euro 2024, Jude Bellingham struck in the first half to give England a 1-0 win over Serbia in opener on Sunday. England is the runner-up in the 2020 edition and is seeking to finally win a trophy befitting its vast array of attacking talent. After scoring with a header against Serbia, giving the Three Lions a 1-0 lead, Jude Bellingham has now scored England's opening goal of the tournament at the 2022 World Cup and Euro 2024. England is still a side in transition without stalwarts such as Harry Maguire, who is injured, and midfielder Jordan Henderson, who was left out of the Euros, and with several inexperienced players in the squad. And with that, it's a wrap on this edition of DD India Live. For those of you on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates on the DD India mobile app. It's available on both Android and iOS platforms. You can scan the QR code on the screen to download it. Let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. You can connect with us on Facebook, X and Instagram. You can also check out our website ddindia.co.in. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Ramesh Ramachandran. For all of us here in New Delhi, thanks for watching DD India Live.